Hi there, my name is Julie. Welcome to the podcast. This is the first podcast and I'm so excited to be here and I'm excited that you're here listening. This is a brand new venue for me. I am the proud owner of Yerberia San Martin Caballero on Little York and I have been in business for 20 plus years. Wow, 20 plus years is easy to say, but believe me, it's a long time and I'm excited to be here. So I specialize in card readings. I do have a small storefront where we sell items and candles and all that sort of cool stuff. I'll explain that maybe in another podcast or if you guys have specific questions. One of the cool things here, because it is a small shop, we try to provide a lot of personalized guidance and help and suggestions and tips. But my passion and my strength is my card readings. So I'm often asked, what is a card reading? So a card reading, in my opinion, is an insightful encounter to get a little info on a situation that you're going through. Now, I know a lot of people do offer card readings where they offer letters and names and past lives and all that sort of cool stuff. Personally, my card readings focus on current situation and future, and that's what I choose to focus on. I can also offer a card reading on a relationship. And I've only started offering a spread on a relationship the last, I guess maybe 10 or 12 years ago. And it's pretty cool because it's almost like a 3-part reading in one spread. So it provides insight, thoughts, and feelings on both persons individually. And then I can focus on the relationship. And whenever I read the relationship, I can tell through my card reading if there's someone interfering, if there's a cutoff occurring, if there's an argument. So it's pretty cool. But like I said, it's present and future. So I choose not to read the past. I know some people do, and that's pretty cool. And I'd love to hear if you are a card reader and you do enjoy reading the past, share your insight with me. I'm open to hearing about this. I definitely want to clarify that what I offer you and what I tell you in my podcast is completely my opinion. I have a lot of people come in and they're working with other readers or they're doing spiritual work with other people. And my response to them is double check with the person guiding you. But if you're the person that doesn't have a lot of, like you're just sort of curious and you want to know and, you're open to card readings and you're interested, then hopefully this serves a purpose for you. So like I said, I've been doing this for a long time. And I'll share a little tip or a short ritual that you can do to help ground you. A lot of times when I meet people for the first time, unfortunately, when they're going through a lot of struggles, their energy is very heavy. And if you've had a card reading with before, I usually mention, the flow, the energy, how you're feeling, the luck that you're going through. It's just a fancy way of describing the energy that we carry as humans. And I do believe that we can affect it and influence it and improve it. And I'll share a very short little tip or suggestion or ritual that I like to do on myself. And I feel like anyone can do it. And this is really great, especially when you're feeling overwhelmed, when you need a little direction, or just when you're feeling like things aren't doing well. You're not feeling at your top. You feel like something's off. So I would suggest you get in a comfortable spot. Could be sitting, could be lying down, doesn't matter. Uncross your arms, uncross your legs. Closing your eyes may help you focus on what we're meant to do, which is to clear our energy. And I want you to visualize, first I want you to focus on your breathing. A couple of breaths, 3, 4, 5 breaths, whatever it takes. This doesn't have to be anything that's difficult to concentrate on. It's just a practice. So we're breathing all the time. We're just focusing on the breathing. Deep, long breaths. Start from focus on yourself from the top to the bottom. I visualize like I'm standing in front of myself. So I can see my head, I can see my eyes. And as I'm doing this and I'm focusing on myself standing above myself, I pretend like I'm holding a big magnet. And sometimes I'll focus on color, sometimes I'll focus just on the magnet itself. But we're literally traveling from the top of your body all the way down to your feet. And as this magnet that either you yourself are holding or is just standing in front of you passes your body, you're focusing on that magnet, absorbing any negativity that you're going through. And this can include health struggles. This can include depression. This can include outside negative influences, and just go, don't question it, just kind of go through your body. So it helps me to visualize the part of the body that I'm on. So like my head, my eyes, go down to my mouth, my neck, go down to my chest. And as you start getting really good at this, you may start feeling like I'm stuck in one spot, or it's hard for me to continue at that spot. Make a mental note of that, or write it down, or just reference it so you come back to it later, because a lot of times that's something health related that we're going through, and your own spirit guides and your own personal intuition is giving you a warning of that. But for this practice, let's not overthink it. We're just visually focusing on that big magnet, going through and absorbing, picking up on all the mess, all the way down to our feet. And then when I get down to my feet, I like to visualize like it's like a balloon, and it's coming out the under end of the balloon. And then when we finish, all the way down to our legs, again, focus on our breathing, focus on getting rid of anything negative, including our own negative thoughts, outside influences, health issues, struggles, confusion, sadness, past problems. And then we focus on our breathing and we come back. Hopefully you feel better after doing that. That's just an easy little clearing thing that I like to do. Another little tip that I like to do is whenever I can sneak off to nature, and this includes, vacations or getaways or fun stuff. It doesn't have to be a ritual that you have to do. Incorporate it. I always suggest to people, incorporate it in your daily life. Don't let it be a nuisance where it just becomes second nature to you. Whenever you're in nature, beach, the lake, the park, mountains, anywhere that's even your own backyard, the woods. I tell people, because I do this in my spiritual cleansings that I offer here at the end, dust yourself off from top to bottom. So just pretend like you have sand or dirt on you and you're getting it off of you. If there are people around, you don't want to look crazy, pretend like you have an ant on you or you have an insect on you and you're trying to get it off. Play your role. And as you're dusting yourself off from top to bottom, your focus is getting rid of anything negative that has attached to you. Again, including negative outside influences, negative spirits, struggles, health struggles, our day-to-day struggles that we go through. We want those physically and emotionally removed. I've encountered people, unfortunately, in the past that have had negative entities attached to them, or they're going through a lot of struggles where they truly believe that someone has done something negative to them. And yes, it's possible. And I always remind them, even when they're really overwhelmed, I always remind them, you can govern your space. You have the absolute right and authority to remove anything negative that is not welcome in your space. Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that should be enough, because sometimes, unfortunately, it's not. Some of us are going through serious problems. Some of us are going through life-threatening health issues. But I also want to remind you that we have our own power, and we definitely have the authority to govern our space. So it is a little bit of a blanket statement, and I don't want to give false hope, but I also want us to hold back, remind ourselves that we hold our own power. As I'm saying this to you, I'm thinking of a reading that I offered earlier to a new client, and she just seemed very overwhelmed in her relationship, and she seemed very consumed with what the other person was thinking and what the other person was doing, and was the other person lying or cheating and all that sort of stuff. And I understood the logic behind it, because when I talk to someone in a card reading, I guess the best description is I'm tapping into your energy, and I'm trying to read your energy, if you will. And again, my intention is to offer you valuable insight. So back to the situation. So she seemed very consumed, and I understood logically as a human where she was going. But then I reminded her, you can't govern what the other person is thinking. You can't really change what they want to do or how they feel or whether they're honest or dishonest. So I just reminded her, and this may seem very simple and oversimplified, but I just reminded her, we really can only govern our own energy. So instead of wasting our energy, if you will, trying to change something that is out of our control, why not take the power back? So I suggested to her, why not improve yourself? Or why not focus on other qualities in your life that would make you happier and more successful? And why not focus on the part of the relationship that you can influence and affect, instead of trying to control, like I said, someone else's behavior, thoughts, and feelings? That's just my personal suggestion. And I love when I talk to people and I say something as simple as what I just described, and I see their face or I hear their voice change. It's so cool. I do offer phone readings. I have people both in town and out of town, and it's really cool. I can even hear it in their voice, it's almost like a sense of relief. And it's really funny to me personally, because it's like I feel like they're telling me, like, why didn't I think of this? And I agree. But sometimes in a card reading, we hear what we need to hear. And it's really interesting. And I learn a lot through my card readings. I receive a lot of intuitive messages that are meant for others. But a lot of time, these messages are universal. And I truly believe that they're just such a major blessing that I try to implement in my own life, or I try to share with others. So if that's your vibe and you feel that being positive and helping others and sharing your gift is something good and it always comes back to you in a positive way, then this is the right channel for you, because that's really what this is meant about. And I have had other readings with other people, and I'm human, and I have talked to other readers. I don't have as many now, but I used to have a few clients that were readers, and that was really cool. And I love and I welcome other readers. I love talking shop, and it's a really cool conversation. And I love hearing how, some people will say, well, I sense it, or I feel it, or I can see it. Or, I've talked to readers before that they actually will do a reading on their client prior to meeting the client, and then they just share whatever insight they have with the client, which is really cool. I usually just focus on the person as I'm communicating with the person. And, I don't do a lot of back work or research and stuff like that. And I think that's one of the interesting things, because I try not to put a lot of my emotion in it. Again, like I said, I try to serve a purpose for the person. But it's really cool. It's an interesting situation to do a reading. And when I talk to people, I have a few, maybe a handful of persons that have asked me in the past, can you offer classes? Or can you teach me? So I guess this is where the podcast comes in. This is where I can be a little bit of a teacher. And if you know me personally, you'll know that I'm a little bossy. So this is perfect for me. But I'll share as much as I can, and I'll teach you what I know. But like I said, I want it to be more of like an awakening and an opening and a recognizing of our energy and how our energy affects us and how we can affect others and how our energies can change and manifest situations in our lives that we want to change and improve. We definitely have that power. I also believe in outside, like using items to improve our energy. Like, this is my personal belief again, like spiritual cleansings and carrying amulets and clearing your space. Some people will say, nope, we don't need it. You manifesting it is enough, or you praying to God or your ultimate entity should be enough. I personally believe in cleansings and clearings. Like what we did earlier, the practice with the magnets, that's sort of a clearing energy. I do believe in altars and cleansing your altars and clearing your space, both your home and your workspace. And I can do a podcast on that if you'd like some insight. And I usually recommend either doing a cleansing with church incense. In Spanish, it's called copal, which is like a frankincense. And then I also have sage and palo santo, which is a little more commonly known. And people seem to prefer that because of its simplicity. And I always recommend whatever cleansing you do, try to do the cleansing whenever you're home alone. And I like to do them when you're home alone or in your workspace alone. Because if you think about it, if you're clearing a space, we're clearing anything negative that is attached or roaming, and we don't want it to attach to someone else. I also recommend when people cleanse either a space or a home or a business, make sure that you're doing it at your peak. Awake, alert, strong, healthy. Again, because if you think about it, if we're clearing something negative, we don't want it to attach or burden someone when they're at their lowest. So negative energies do exist. Demons do exist. Negative spirits do exist. Just like human nature not wishing well upon others is unfortunately our reality. And I don't encourage you to live in a space of paranoia or fear or isolate yourself because it exists. I think of this, and again, this is my opinion. We just have to coexist, and we have to protect ourselves. And just like in our day to day, thieves exist, crimes exist, attacks exist. So we just take precautions to avoid this. As women, not going out alone in a garage, or not, putting ourselves in a situation where we're prone to be attacked. Same thing when it comes to spiritual. When you're exposed to something new, or you're trying something new, protect yourself. Do a short prayer, carry something that you feel is a protection or a blessing. My go-to would be a crucifix, but there are people that don't believe in God. So I would encourage them, well, are you connected to possibly an ancestor, or do you believe that your ancestors surround and hear you? If so, carry something that belonged to them. If you don't have access to that, purchase something or an item or a particular color that reminds you of that ancestor, and mentally and emotionally remind yourself that this is your protection. I can suggest a few protections, but there's so many different beliefs and so many different ways of doing things. And I don't want you to feel that if you don't do it my way, it's wrong. I want you to find what's right for you. But when you're exposing yourself to things that are new, such as online advice, or going on YouTube and doing a ritual, or going on TikTok and getting a free reading, all of those things are exposing you to energies and spirits, and not all of them are positive. So make sure that you do your homework. Make sure that you're really cautious of that. And I know it may sound contradictory, because here I am doing a podcast, but again, I'm sharing you my insight. This is, sort of a platform that I'd like to use to sort of give you that advice, and just be cautious. That's all I have to say. Be cautious, use your intuition. Same thing I offer when I talk to people for the first time. A lot of card readers, or a lot of spiritualists, a lot of intuitives, unfortunately, will take advantage of their gift, in my belief. And I hear these stories all the time. If it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. If someone is guaranteeing for a certain amount of money, or within a certain amount of time, X, Y, and Z will occur, that rule of thumb is walk away from it, think it through. I'm respectful of other readers, I'm respectful of other spiritualists, but I just don't support people, nor do I think it's okay for people to take advantage of. And I truly believe in karma, the good and the bad. If we do really, really well, we usually get it back in other ways. When we are not the greatest of persons, we usually pay it back in other ways. So let's stay away from that and just be respectful of this. I know this is very popular now, and I think it's cool, because for many, many years it was sort of, looked down upon, or wasn't exactly welcome. But it's interesting that these new generations, I get so many young clients come in, and it's so funny to me, because I think, as a mom, I immediately think, like, what kind of problems can this young person have? But then I just remind myself, their issues or their struggles are equally as valid to them like my struggles are to myself. So hopefully when I meet you, or I speak with you or interact with you, that comes across, because that's really my intention. So I'm glad that you're here. I hope that I offered some good insight on card readings. I love to do them. I do offer phone. I offer in person, old school, my son would say. I offer audio text readings, and I also offer short, quick email readings. And those are the email readings I don't offer as much, because usually people want to do more than one spread. But I do offer them. So send us a text at 281-901-0560, or follow us on social media at Yerberia SMC Houston. We'll post that at the bottom, and we're on Facebook, we're on TikTok, we're on Instagram and Google. So welcome, and definitely contact me. Again, my name is Julie, and I hope that I offered you some useful info on card readings, and I'd love to hear from you. And hopefully this is the beginning of not just one, but several podcasts. And absolutely welcome suggestions, maybe topics you want me to discuss. We can talk about card readings, we can talk about cleansings, I can maybe give you some insight on amulets that I suggest. Amulets are like lucky charms, and I love amulets. If you know, I think some of the best amulets, by the way, are, and when I say amulets, good luck charms, are the ones we accumulate. So I always welcome you to, accumulate them. It's something very personal. You go on your travels or you come across stuff. I don't believe in accidents. I think our spirit guides are constantly communicating with us. So I think amulets and lucky charms are an easier venue for our spirit guides to communicate with us. Just make sure that we want to balance in our life. We don't want to get where we just rely on lucky charms and we don't make an effort. It's human. I know we want to. Believe me, I'm one of them. I wish that I could carry something and it would resolve all my problems. It's a combination. Your mental outlook, the work and effort you put towards your goals. Sometimes you have to consider whether it's meant to be or not, but absolutely look at every aspect of anything that you can do to improve your life. So it's awesome that you're here. Welcome again. Look forward to hearing from you, and hopefully this will be one of many podcasts. Thanks so much.